Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, here we are to continue my AFL 2023 3-game match reviews. And in today's video we're going to be reviewing the middle three games from round 13 of the 2023 AFL season. And those games are Adelaide vs West Coast, Fremantle vs Richmond and North Melbourne vs GWS. And the last match reviews for round 13 will be 2 games because of just the way the numbers have worked. Alright, so we're going back quite a bit in this 3-game match reviews, but it's just the way that it works sometimes. Going back to Saturday twilight at the Adelaide Oval, and it was Adelaide versus West Coast. This game was going in as a relatively dead rubber game, and yeah, we got what we expected, in all honesty. But look, as I'm a Crows fan, I'm not going to go on and on about it because I know this is a general footy channel. But what a win for Adelaide, and for West Coast supporters, you do have the sense of sorriness because last week they looked better versus Collingwood, and to do that, I think there was one shining light for them in this game, which I'll touch on that a little bit later. But anyway, though, score Adelaide 27-12, 174 to West Coast 8-4-52. Adelaide win by 122 and smash West Coast, absolutely destroy them out of the park. And this was built off of a inspirational first half. And they're fast starters, Adelaide, and we know that they are fast starters, and 7 goals to 2 just implements that again. They scored 50 against Carlton and St Kilda, and then another really big score where they could have been further ahead at quarter time as well. They missed some simple chances, but Ryan Marrick for West Coast kicked kicked the Eagles first of the game, which he was pretty good, which again I'll get to that a little bit later on anyway. 7 more goals in the second quarter to Adelaide, 7 more in the third, 6 in the final, so they were continuing to hunt and storm away with those goals. West Coast kicked 2 goals every quarter, but again, weren't very impressive. Now, look, it was Texas Day. Game number 250, and he kicks 10 goals, 21 disposals, 11 marks, 2 tackles, 5 hit-outs. He was awesome. Rory Laird, 124 fantasy, 105 for Dawson, 101 for Williams, who still had his decent moments throughout the day, and obviously with Nick Nat being out, he's got a big role to fill, and he's doing all right. 99 fantasy for Keys and Kelly as well. Now, 10 goals for Walker. He just stole the show. And that gets him back into the Coleman, which we'll probably check out the Coleman towards the end of this video, actually, as things are getting very interesting there with a couple of these games in this 3-game match reviews. If we have time, we might be able to do that. 3 goals for Rankin, 2 for Murphy, Fogarty, Scholl. Marrick with the 2 goals. He was impressive and missed a relatively simple one, but he was good on debut for West Coast. 2 goals for Thilthorpe and Sloan as well. Disposals now 34 for Laird, 32 for Dawson, 30 for Yo, 29 for Keys, 27 for Kelly. Marks, 11 for Walker, 8 for Smith, 7 for Worrell. Tackles, 7 for Jinby, 6 for Dawson, Laird, Sloan, Chesser. Hit-outs, 37 for O'Brien, 35 for Williams, 7 for Thilthorpe, 5 for Walker, 1 for Allen, Darling and Clark. Now the team stats where domination Adelaide smashed West Coast in disposals and inside 50, 65 to 34. Now clearances 45 to 36, 18 to 16, centre 27 to 20 stoppage. Big winning contested ball for Adelaide and uncontested ball as well. Plus 39 in contested possessions. Plus 15 marks inside 50. Big win there, and yeah, they led for the whole game. 14 to 7 tackles inside 50 in favour of the Crows as well. But this is a big game, and they're so good at the Adelaide Oval are the Adelaide Crows. Away from home form is patchy. But look, it's another really big and good win here for Adelaide. Saturday night footy in the West, Freo versus Richmond, Fremantle 10-10-70, defeated by Richmond 12-13-85. Richmond win by 15. Richmond are not done with yet. They are still a slim hope for finals, and I think their fate next week potentially does lean on that big game with St Kilda the MCG on Saturday night. I think, yeah, that their season does rely heavily on that game, and if they can pick up the W there and the 4 points, I wouldn't be ruling out the Tigers just yet. This was a good performance. This is a really good performance against a good Freo side. Freo aren't great in Channel 7 games at home, in all honesty, though. But yeah, they were poor here and got really close. Closer than what they probably should have. But yeah, just when we thought Freo were on a roll, I put them 5th in my mid-season ladder predictions. They won't finish 5th after this, I don't think. I feel like this win was quite important, and a bunch of other wins later on the year. And next week versus the Giants for them also shapes as a 50-50 game. So a big Saturday of footy with just the 2 games next week. But Giants, Dockers and Tigers, Saints, 2 big games on the Saturday next week. But this game anyway, though, it was an even start, and then the Tigers just kind of jump out the blocks. The Dockers kick the first, and the Tigers kick the next 4. Second quarter's a pretty even quarter. In the third quarter, that's where the Tigers do take the game and do say goodbye at this stage, just over halfway through that third term. But then the Dockers, they're not done. They're coming back. They've got this game in their mind, and only kicking 2-1 in the final term. So they got close, but in the end, not close enough. 129 fantasy for Taranto and Nankervis, 124 for Bolton, 119 for Jackson, 117 for Vlosten, 113 for Sarong, 103 for Short with 3 long bombs, all outside 50, which probably gave the Tigers the win, and 100 for Andrew Brayshaw. 4 goals for Amos, who was key on the night for the Dockers. He kept them in it. 3 goals for Short, 2 goals for Revolt, Walters, Taranto. Disposals 35, Taranto 33, Bolton. Big game for him. 31 Sarong, 29 Brayshaw, 28 Cochrane. Marks 12 for Nick Vlosten, 9 for Ryan and Bolter. Tackles 8 for Nankervis. Hit-outs 49 for Nankervis, 33 for Jackson, 13 for Ryan, 7 for Tracy. Team stats now where the Tigers won inside 50s by +5 and looked a bit more dangerous when they went inside 50 as well, or even just hovering 60 out. They smashed Dockers in hit-outs. Clearances 40-47, 27-39. Stoppage clearances favour the Tigers, 13-8. Centre clearances in favour of the Dockers. They won contested ball by +13, did the Tigers. They took 7 more marks. And look, they got that lead out to 36 points in that third quarter. They led for most of the game. From there, they really did deserve to win the game. They were the better side. And yeah, this is a really big win for their season. And now to the game which not long ago just wrapped up at Blunston Arena between North Melbourne vs GWS and North Melbourne 11-9-75. Defeated by GWS 15-13, 103. The Giants, they win by 28, and if you guys watched my round preview or my tipping or both, you would know that I tipped North Melbourne. I had some faith in them, but I think after their 3 weeks of good work versus Sydney, Collingwood and Essendon, that's undone now. I feel like genuinely next week they were a sneaky chance against the Dogs next week if they had have gone in and won this game, but they didn't, and I feel like now their season is probably back to where it was 5 weeks ago, in no man's land, unfortunately enough for them. And I mean, look, they've still got some good players and all. I'm not saying that they're bad or anything, but I am just saying that I felt like if they had won this game, there would have been a little bit more belief, a little bit more hype that they can finish a little bit higher on the ladder, or at least make 4 or 5 wins out of the year, but I'm not sure about that anymore. Even first quarter, but the Giants just got the jump skip late. 4 goals to 3 in the second quarter, so really even game at halftime as well. But in the third quarter, look, North hung around. North are in this game midway through the third quarter. 1, 2, 3 late goals to end off the quarter, and the game goes from being like, maybe 5 points to 20 or something like that. And that's just where they threw the game away, North Melbourne. And then the Giants kicked the opening goal of the last, and from there, you think door shut, and door shut it is. North, they kicked a couple of goals, but again, nothing to really get too far closer. 111 fantasy for Green, 108 for Zeeble, 105 for Hall, 101 for Briggs. Goals behind, 4 goals for Larkey, who was North Melbourne's shining light. And we know he's in the Coleman medal discussion race as well. He's probably the one from nowhere that can come and nab this for sure. He's consistent week in, week out. And we know what to expect from him. 3 goals for Green, Thomas and Brown. 2 goals for Riccardi, Bedford, Hogan. Disposals 30 for Zeeble, 29 for Shields, 26 for Green, 26 for Ward. Marks 8 for Logan, Riccardi as well as Hogan. Tackles 9 for Wardlaw, 7 for Briggs. Hit-outs 21 for Goldie, 20 for Briggs, 14 for Keefe, who had a pinch hit in the ruck. 8 for Coleman Jones. Team stats now with the Giants won inside 50s, 47-63. They won stoppage clearances 17-24 as well. They won contested possessions by 26. They won marks inside 50 by 3. They led for 3 quarters of the game, and look, in the end, definitely the better side. And due to some real critical and dangerous North Melbourne errors and zoning out times where they just weren't in the game for a period of time, that's what just let the Giants walk away to, in the end, a pretty comfortable 28-point win. 2 absolutely huge games coming up in the next 2-game match reviews, which, by the way, this is the last 2-game match reviews will be for at least this year that I know of, because from here on we go back to 3, because next round, which we'll go through that in just a moment. But anyway, though, Carlton Essendon, big game. Melbourne and Collingwood, big game. And obviously, fight M&D, don't we love to get around that and support. Now, Geelong and Gold Coast are the sides which have had the buys, and now we'll just go ahead and have a little deep dive into round 14 at the moment. Now, obviously, back to 3 game match reviews, which, if anybody wondering how that's going to work, Port Adelaide, Geelong, Brisbane, Sydney, Giants, Dockers, and then Tigers, Saints, Suns, Blues, and North Dogs. But anyway, though, it is big. Port Adelaide and Geelong, big game on the Thursday night. Brisbane and Sydney, probably not so entertaining on the Friday night. But again, though, that could still be an underrated thriller. Now, this one should be good. Giants and Dockers and Tigers and Saints. I think that's probably the biggest day of football next round. I think those two games are really big games. In context of seasons as well, I feel like if the Dockers lose that, they can lose touch from a good spot. They can definitely lose touch with that top 8. And then Carlton Suns is also a really big game in the Suns season. I feel like they've got to win that if they want to make finals. And then North Dogs finish it off. Crows, Pies, Bombers, Hawks, Melbourne and West Coast having their buys next round. Now to the ladder, how things shaping up at the moment. As I said yesterday, we've got this pack emerging. Collingwood and Port Adelaide, the two front runners that are off, and they're going to be off and running. They're going to be off into the distance from the followers, Melbourne, Brisbane, St Kilda. Probably those followers. And then Essendon as well. Should they win tonight, they can jump into that pack of followers as well. And they can probably go... They can go 6th. They can take 6th spot. The Dogs, they've had numerous chances to jump up into that top 4, but only find themselves just inside the top 8 at the moment, with their percentage being a real issue, as you've still got the Cats, the Dockers, and the Suns, which still all have that game in hand and can all easily overtake the Dogs with their percentage. You just think they have to get a big percentage booster next week. And then things are getting interesting down here as well in terms of Tigers. They're only a game away from 9th at the moment, but they've still played an extra game. The Swans, still interesting things over them. And the Blues have jumped into the bottom 4 now, but still have their game to play as well. And then the bottom at the moment, with all on even games, is looking pretty comfortable. Now, Coleman medal race before we finish off this video. We'll go into stats. We'll go into players. Here's where it gets interesting. So we'll go through this on Wednesday in more detail when we've got when Carlton have played, because you'd assume Kerno should at least kick a goal to take the lead. But at the moment, we've got Kerno on 38, Cameron on 38, and Walker on 38, all in the lead at the moment. And then you got Larkey on 36, who's probably also within striking distance to win. Hawkins would have to kick a bag next week if he was to try and get close. But look, there's still some other players which with bags can still get there. But at the moment, I think our top 4 is pretty settled. So feel free to let me know who you think wins the Coleman medal in the comment section, because I'd like to see who you guys have got at the moment. But yeah, 2 massive games coming up in the next 3 game match reviews. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys next another video on the channel. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe, run, flame for the out.